Panic in the room. CBC host shocked as Trump's annexation plan stuns Canada. Canada is no stranger to political theater, but what unfolded on live television left even seasoned journalists speechless. During an interview meant to focus on trade disputes and economic recovery, a CBC host froze as President Trump's shocking remarks about annexing Canada reverberated across the studio. Prime Minister Carney, invited to respond on air, maintained composure, but the tremor in the room was unmistakable. It wasn't just another political jab. This was rhetoric that cut directly at the heart of Canadian sovereignty. For millions watching, it felt like history had taken a sharp and dangerous turn. Trump's annexation idea was framed with his usual blend of bravado and negotiation, referencing a grand golden dome. Missile shield Canada could share with the U.S., but only if sovereignty was surrendered. Canadians are used to tense trade talks or disagreements with Washington, but outright talk of absorption into the United States was something altogether different. Carney's swift reply, "Canada is not for sale," became an instant rallying cry. The CBC host, visibly stunned, embodied the disbelief coursing through households from Vancouver to Halifax. In one moment, an ally had turned into an adversary, and Canadians realized their identity itself was being challenged. The reaction inside Canada was immediate and fierce. Politicians across the spectrum, from Liberals to Conservatives to the NDP and Greens, issued joint statements denouncing Trump's proposal. This was one of the rare moments where partisan divides dissolved into a unified front. Polls conducted in the days following showed close to 9 in 10 Canadians rejecting annexation outright. Social media filled with hashtags like #CanadaStrong and #NotForSale, while citizens flooded the streets with Canadian flags, turning protest rallies into expressions of pride. What Trump may have intended as a provocation instead awakened an emotional surge of national unity. Carney, recognizing both the danger and opportunity, acted quickly. Within days, his government unveiled a Buy Canada initiative that redirected billions into protecting homegrown industries targeted by new American tariffs. Aluminum, steel, and lumber producers were granted relief packages to maintain jobs. At the same time, Carney offered temporary breathing room by easing back deadlines on Canada's electric vehicle mandate, a pragmatic adjustment meant to shield automakers from mounting costs while preserving long-term climate goals. It was a calculated effort to show that Canada could absorb economic shocks without bending to political threats. On the diplomatic front, Carney chose dialogue over escalation. Within a week of the CBC uproar, he and Trump held a tense but direct phone call, followed by a meeting in Washington. Though annexation talk was not formally walked back, the encounter cooled the temperature of immediate trade hostilities. Some retaliatory tariffs were rolled back, but Trump insisted on keeping symbolic pressure points in place. Carney's calm, measured tone contrasted sharply with Trump's bombast, highlighting two radically different approaches to leadership. Analysts noted that Carney's refusal to be baited may have prevented a spiral into a full-blown trade war. Symbolism played a role too. Shortly after, King Charles III and Queen Camilla made a high-profile visit to Ottawa. Their presence was more than ceremonial. It was a living reminder of Canada's distinct heritage and sovereignty. From laying wreaths to dropping a ceremonial puck at a hockey game, the royal couple underscored that Canada stands apart from American influence. In Parliament, King Charles's speech drew rousing applause, sending a quiet but powerful signal abroad. Canada would not be pushed into becoming a 51st state. Everyday Canadians turned their frustration into cultural resistance. Bars stopped serving American whiskey, swapping it out for Canadian brands. Cafes cheekily rebranded their Americanos as Canadianos. Even Ontario Premier Doug Ford staged a dramatic protest by pouring out a bottle of Crown Royal, angry that its production had been shifted to U.S. facilities. These symbolic acts, though small, tapped into a much larger wave of defiance. Canadians were sending a clear message not only to Trump but to the world, that their identity would not be diluted by economic intimidation or political spectacle. Still, the conversation revealed fractures within Canada itself. In Alberta, some voices entertained the idea of closer alignment with the United States, arguing it could bring economic opportunity and energy market advantages. Yet such views remained a minority. National polls consistently showed fewer than 15% of Canadians supporting annexation in any form. If anything, Trump's remarks deepened divisions within provinces already wrestling with their place in Confederation, but it also gave the majority of Canadians a new sense of common purpose, to defend what unites them. Experts warn that even if annexation is unrealistic, the rhetoric carries lasting damage. Trust between Canada and the U.S. has been frayed, and repairing it will take time. Markets have grown skittish. Investment in cross-border ventures has slowed, and families who straddle both countries worry about what political escalation might mean for their daily lives. Trump's words may have been designed for leverage, but their echoes risk reshaping North America's security, trade, and cultural landscape for years to come. Through all this, Carney's role has been pivotal. While critics accuse him of consolidating power too quickly since the snap election in April, his ability to project calm and resilience in the face of chaos has strengthened his credibility. In town halls, he spoke directly to Canadians' fears, asking workers and families whether they felt safe, whether their jobs were secure, and then pledging that Canada's sovereignty would never be bargained away. His words were deliberate, steady, and human. In an age of global volatility, that tone mattered as much as any policy announcement. The crisis has not ended, but it has reshaped Canada's political culture. A shaken CBC studio became a symbol of the country's vulnerability, but also its strength. Trump's annexation rhetoric stunned the nation, but the response revealed a Canada unwilling to bow. From parliamentary debates to kitchen table conversations, Canadians are engaging with questions of identity and sovereignty more seriously than in decades. Even amid panic, a quiet pride is taking root. Canada now stands at a defining moment. The annexation shock may fade from headlines, but its impact is already carved into the country's political consciousness. What began as a moment of panic in the room has become a story of defiance, resilience, and reaffirmed sovereignty. In facing this challenge, Canada is not shrinking, it is standing taller than ever, determined to prove that its independence is not negotiable.